Hey there, it's Chaz from TheoryGames.com, and today we're going to be diving into one of the most important videos you're ever going to watch in Lords Mobile. So whether you're a beginner trying to avoid costly mistakes or a veteran looking to tighten up your fundamentals, this guide is going to break down the top 10 essential tips every Lords Mobile player needs to master. We're talking meat shields, hero buffs, gear timing, monster hunting optimizations, familiar setups, gem priorities, everything that separates efficient players from those constantly rebuilding troops and wasting resources. If you've ever wondered why stronger players seem to progress faster with less effort, this is exactly why. So buckle up, because by the end of this guide, you're going to understand mechanics most players overlook for months. Let's get straight into it. Tip number 1, mastering meat shields and troop loss mitigation. Meat shields are your disposable frontline. They're the lower tier troops whose entire job is to take hits so your premium units don't have to. By stacking these low tier troops in front of your main force, which are your T4s, maybe your T3s, you massively reduce losses where it matters most. The idea is simple: let the cheap bodies die so the expensive ones never do. When you want 0 T4 losses, aim for around 40% of your entire march to be meat shields. So for example, if you're going to send out a 200,000 unit march, make sure around about 80,000 of those units are low tier, okay? Even if the hit goes badly, your T4s are going to stay untouched because the shields take the deaths first. And if you run T3 units, like Royal Guards for example, as your main fighters and want to keep them completely safe, the setup is going to be the same, just adjust the ratio depending on how many T3s you're protecting. So again, for example, a march with 120,000 T3 Royal Guards would be backed up by 80,000 grunts. Even if the entire march gets wiped, only the 80,000 grunts disappear and your T3 core walks away unharmed. The rule is consistent across all troop tiers. Use those cheap troops to protect your expensive troops, and tune your frontline size based on how valuable the units are behind them. Tip number 2, understanding hero buff activation. So as we all know, heroes in this game come with 3 kinds of buffs, and knowing when each one activates is the difference between winning clean and losing troops for no reason. So each hero carries 3 buff types. For example, the Berserker offers Battle Song, Impenetrable Defense, and Army Attack, but these only trigger under the right conditions based on the hero's classification. So the first buff is going to be your administration, your admin buffs, and these are always active. So these are passive utility boosts like construction speed, research speed, or training efficiency. Heroes like Witch Doll shine here. Once you hire them, these buffs are permanently active in your city, no deployment needed. But that also means they do nothing for you in combat. Now next up we have our attack buffs, only active when marching. These buffs are only going to apply when the hero is physically being sent into battle, so if they're not in your march, their offensive buffs are just not going to exist. This is when you want heroes like Tracker, Rose Knight, or any hero with army attack, troop specific attack, or march buffs. And last but not least, we have our defense buffs, only active when stationed on your wall. So when your castle is being attacked, only the heroes assigned to the wall defense slot matter. Their defense buffs activate for your entire army. All other heroes, regardless of how strong they are, contribute nothing unless they're on that wall. Now, when launching attack, always send your leader so you get the full leader boost. Then fill the remaining slots with heroes who give attack-based bonuses. Avoid sending admin-only heroes like Witch Doll. If you bring her, she will contribute absolutely nothing besides her base 200 squad damage, which is, let's be honest, negligible. Your march slots are valuable, right? So make sure you fill them up with heroes that actually buff your army. Master this activation logic and your hero lineup is gonna always match the job you're sending them to do. Now, moving on, tip number 3, exploiting hero buffs in mixed marches for Darkness. Here's a trick most players never realize: a hero's army-wide buffs still activate even if that hero's troop type doesn't match the rest of your march. This becomes especially powerful when running mixed marches or hitting Darkness, where the quality of your buffs matter more than troop type alignment. When attacking, always send your leader and don't hesitate to bring heroes with strong army stats, even if they're not the same troop type as your march. So for example, if you're sending a full ranged attack, you can still bring a cav or an infantry hero that's going to offer that army max HP, army defense, or army attack. Those buffs will fully apply to the march regardless of their troop type. While all 5 heroes buffs are active during the attack, keep in mind that only the 4 heroes will actually have a squad attached to them. One hero provides only their stats with no troop squad assigned, which is completely normal and doesn't reduce the value of their buffs. Your march will still benefit from all 5 hero bonuses. Using this properly means you can build buff heavy teams without being restricted by troop type purity, letting you optimize every march for maximum damage and survivability. Now, tip number 4, the crucial timing of gear and boosts, aka the landing rule. Let me explain what that is. So one of the most misunderstood mechanics in the game is that the game actually only checks your gear and your active boosts when your troops land. So it doesn't matter what you send, like what you send your gear on, it's only when it lands. So whether you're landing on a resource tile or an enemy castle, it doesn't matter. It's only your landing setup is going to affect performance. So this is why we call it the landing rule, right? And mastering it is going to give you a massive efficiency advantage. So my marching strategy is as follows. First of all, we're going to be starting fast. We're going to begin our march wearing your speed gear, right? This gets your troops moving quickly and reduces your travel time. Then mid-march, we're going to be switching it over. So we're going to be swapping to your target gear, which is your gathering gear for tiles or attack gear for PvP, PvE targets, right? Then we're going to make sure that any relevant boosts, like a 50% gathering boost or an attack boost, are activated before your march lands. Again, the game only checks these buffs on landing, not during travel. So by using speed gear to launch and then switching to the proper specialized gear mid-march, you're going to be getting the best of both worlds, right? So you're going to be getting that faster march time, that faster travel, but you're also going to be going for either that stronger gathering or that combat performance increase, right? And this trick is going to save you hours of gathering time, and it's definitely going to be boosting your march efficiency as well and helping you to win those battles more. Now, tip number 5, prioritizing army stats. Understanding which combat stats actually matter and which ones don't really matter so much is going to be one of the biggest power spikes that you can give yourself in Lords Mobile. Every battle is driven by 3 core stats, okay? That's attack, HP, and defense, but they are not equal. Here's the proper stat priority. The first one is going to be attack. This is the most important. Attack is king. Army attack directly increases the damage each troops deal, which means troops die faster on the enemy side and you take fewer wounds overall. Always prioritize army attack first in gear, hero skills, familiars, and research. Second up, we have HP coming in at the second most important behind attack. Army max HP is your second priority. HP keeps your troops alive longer and helps your frontline hold. It's a powerful stat, but it still comes after attack because the damage output scales better in real battles. So check out some of the buffs I'm putting on screen right now. We can see like the manor, for example, it's going to be giving you a 2% army stat at level 25. So it's going to be the lowest percentage because attack is the strongest stat. However, if you look at HP in the infirmary, for example, it's going to give you a 5% HP bonus at level 25. And this is going to be the middle one. And then barracks is going to give you 10% defense. And so you can kind of see the game itself is actually telling you what stats to prioritize. It's kind of rebalancing because the attack stat is just so OP, right? Anyway, moving on to tip number 6, targeting monsters with the opposite damage type. Monster hunting is all about matching your hero lineup to monsters' weaknesses. Every monster lists what it's strongest against, and your job is to send heroes that deal the opposite type of damage. So if you ignore this, you're just going to be tanking your damage output and waste energy. So personally, I play with a 2 rule thumb, okay? First is if the monster is strong against physical, then send magic heroes, and if the monster is strong against magic, send physical heroes. Pretty simple, right? Another thing to note is that no tanks are allowed. Avoid using tanks when hunting. They contribute almost no relevant damage and their skills aren't really designed for monster hunting DPS, so go for those pure damage heroes only, okay? Lastly, when both types are listed, which is a bit of a curveball, some monsters like Frostwing claim they're strong against both physical and magic. In these rare cases, always send physical heroes, okay? They're going to be the ones taking the priority because physical lineups consistently outperform magic on dual resistance monsters due to skill scaling and damage formula behavior. So if you follow the weakness chart and send the correct damage type every time, your hits are going to become stronger, cheaper, and more efficient. Now, let's move on to tip number 7, identifying hero damage type. So, knowing whether a hero deals physical or magical damage is going to be crucial for monster hunting, darkness, and general combat optimization. The game makes this easy, so you just need to look at the icon next to the hero. First, they're going to be your physical heroes. These heroes deal physical damage and are marked by a blue wing. AGI agility heroes, a fist icon, which is STR for strength heroes, and next are the magical heroes, right? These heroes deal magic damage and are marked by a large purple circle. So this is like the intellect, like the INT heroes. Once you recognize these symbols at a glance, selecting the correct damage type for hunts and battles becomes effortless. Tip number 8, establishing an optimal castle build order. A solid building layout is something you set once and rely on for your entire account's lifespan. The goal is to balance training speed, hospital capacity, and overall efficiency, and there's one layout that consistently outperforms the rest for long-term play. So check it out. Here's what I always do in my build. We're going to go for 1 barracks, 7 infirmaries, and 8 manors, okay? So let me explain this. So the 1 barracks, 7 infirmaries, 8 manors setup gives you the best all-round performance. The single barracks is going to be enough because training speed primarily comes from manors and research, not really stacking multiple barracks. The 7 infirmaries provide enough hospital space to absorb hits from darkness and smaller enemy attacks without suffering any of those major troop losses that we want to avoid, right? Meanwhile, the 8 manors are going to significantly boost your training speed, your resource production, and it's going to help keep your troop growth fast and steady. So if you ever feel the need to push troop production even harder, you can add a second barracks later. But for most players, and for me personally, this foundational layout remains optimal from early game all the way right through to end game. Now, tip number 9, optimal familiar building layout. When you unlock the familiar biome, the very first thing that you should do is set up the correct building layout, okay? The proper layout maximizes your anima production, training throughput, and merging speed. Basically everything that accelerates familiar progression. So my recommended starting familiar build is going to be 1 gem, 2 spires, and 5 springs, okay? This layout is going to give you the strongest early game balance without wasting any of those build slots. Gems are going to increase your training experience and let you train multiple familiars at the same time. The level 25 gem is going to provide a massive 20% training XP, and with 2 gems, you can train 2 familiars simultaneously by splitting your heroes between them. So the hero time contribution for each of the hero types, so for gold it's going to take 1 hour of training, for purple it's 50 minutes, for blue it's going to be 40 minutes, and for grey it's 20 minutes. This system means that high rarity heroes massively reduce training time, so always pair your best heroes with your highest priority familiars. Next up we have springs. Springs are your anima production buildings, and they're critical because they produce anima, the core currency of course, for familiar upgrades. They increase max anima storage, letting you stockpile more between sessions, and they provide those merging speed bonuses. So at level 25, you're going to get a 20% merging speed. So you're going to get a 20% merging speed at level 25, and a 3% skill stone merging speed at level 25 as well. So basically more springs are going to mean more anima, faster merges, and faster growth. So stick to 1 gem, 2 spires, and 5 springs set up early on, and you'll have the perfect foundation for long-term familiar progression. And tip number 10, prioritizing gem spending on paid buildings. One of the biggest mistakes players make is blowing gems on random conveniences or speed ups. If you haven't reached T4 troops yet, your gems should be treated like premium currency and saved strictly for upgrading the 3 paid buildings that require purchase materials, okay? These upgrades are unavoidable, expensive, and absolutely essential for that end game progression. So make sure you're saving all of your gems for upgrading the battle hall, which is going to require tombs, your prison, which is going to require cuffs, and your altar, which is going to require those soul stones, okay? Upgrading these 3 structures alone is going to cost around 800,000 gems, purely because you must buy their materials. So spending gems on anything else before you unlock that T4 is just going to hinder your progress significantly. Now, how to actually buy materials the cheapest way? Well, believe it or not, this is where many players get tricked. Do not buy tomes, cuffs, and soul stones from the regular store, okay? That store is mostly for gifting and everything is marked up at price. Instead, use a direct building purchase method. So go to the building that you want to upgrade, tap upgrade, and look at the material listed in red because you don't have enough. Then tap the plus icon next to it. This is going to take you to a dedicated material purchase page where the items are significantly cheaper than the general shop. This method alone is going to save you hundreds of thousands of gems across your account's lifespan. So keep your gem spending laser focused on these paid buildings, and you'll hit T4 much faster without wasting a single gem. And that about wraps up today's guide. Master your familiar layout and spending your gems wisely, especially on those paid buildings, is going to massively increase and accelerate your long-term growth. These mistakes are ones that many players discover too late, so applying them early gives you a huge advantage over everybody else. But now I want to hear from you. Which familiar setup are you currently using? Have you already upgraded any of the paid buildings, the battle hall, prison, or altar? Share your thoughts in the comments below so we can help each other grow as a stronger community. And if you found this guide helpful, smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you don't miss anything. Oh, and also go ahead and check out our Lords Mobile Wiki over at theoryofgames.com. Thanks for watching, stay sharp, and I'll see you in the next one.